Okay, so I'm really responding to two different videos here, one of which is a response to the other. A guy who calls himself by the oxymoronic username ChristianAtheist posted a video asking atheists a question. AtheistBlindChick posted a response, which of course is the only reason I noticed the original video at all. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to AtheistBlindChick, you'd better get your ass over there and click on that button, folks. Well, that's just my opinion, of course. Anyway, I just felt like I had to chime in, because for once I actually disagree with AtheistBlindChick on something. Anyway, I recommend, if you want the whole story, you go watch those two videos first. As usual, I'll post links in the sidebar. I'll start by going through Christian Atheist's vid, and then I'm going to go on with what will probably be something of a rant in response to AtheistBlindChick.
Hello guys, hello atheists. So, it's actually a response to one of the Amazing Atheists videos. Anyway, but it's a message to all atheists actually. You see, I used to be an atheist too, and I totally understand you guys. I totally understand what goes on with you. I totally do.
I don't think you do. You may very well at one point not have believed in a god and thus been an atheist, but I find it hard to believe that you were ever a skeptic. If you were, then I apologize, of course. I just don't find it probable. The reason for this should be clear to every skeptic watching your video, and in fact the very fact that you made this video in the first place pretty much covers it, I should think.
There's something that you gotta question yourselves, atheists. Why are you guys atheists, really?
Because I don't believe in your gods or any other gods. Next question, please.
Because, well, for a long time I became an atheist, and I had a girlfriend who was Christian, and she proved to me that God existed. Yeah, in a way she gave me proof that I could not deny.
Please, enlighten us. How did she prove that God exists?
And, but I still didn't want to leave atheism because it was fun. I didn't have to take shit from anybody. I didn't have to follow the authority of any pastor or of any church or anything. I didn't have to follow the authority of a book that was written 2,000 years ago. I was free, you know, it was free, you know, it's fun. So I was dying to prove that God didn't exist, you know? Yeah. But I couldn't prove. It was like obvious to me, yeah, there is a God, you know?
Fun is not the issue. Freedom's not the issue. The minute you believe that a God exists, regardless of whether you choose to acknowledge this God or worship this God or whatever, that minute you're not an atheist. Leaving atheism, as you call it, is not a decision you make, just like becoming an atheist when you're a theist is not a decision you make. It's simply a question of, have I been convinced that a God exists or not? What you're saying is, you didn't want to acknowledge the God you believed in. That's not atheism. As AtheistBlindChick pointed out, that's rebellion.
The question that I ask yourselves, guys, what if someone proved to you that God exists, that not only a deistic God, not that there is a creator, but what if someone proved to you that there is a creator and that this creator wants to be worshipped?
Wait a minute. So you're saying that there's an almighty creator of the universe, and this entity is actually so petty and self-absorbed that it wants my worship? Okay, so I've actually already answered this question before in a previous video, but I'll go over it again in a moment. But first, AtheistBlindChick answered this as follows.
If your God were real, and your God would send me to hell for eternity if I didn't worship him, I'd be foolish not to worship this entity. I would never call it good. I would never call it fair, just, merciful. But I would, albeit reluctantly, fall to my knees and worship.
And here's where I have to disagree. If there was a God, whatever that is, that had created the entire universe and was effectively omnipotent, and this God wanted my worship as well as the worship of all other humans, and this God had created a special place where those who didn't worship it could be tortured for eternity. And if you prove to me beyond the shadow of a doubt that this God existed and had all these attributes, then I hope to the imaginary deity of your choice that I would have the courage, the moral fiber, and the testicular fortitude to tell this God exactly where it could shove it. Any hypothetical being that was sufficiently petty, sufficiently evil, malevolent, twisted, and psychotic to do all of the above deserves not worship, but active opposition. And you can call it silly, foolish, or whatever you like, but that's how I feel. I can't worship something that is actively evil. It simply isn't in me to do that. Enough said. Oh, here's one little bit of icing on this cake. Christian Atheist answered a comment in the comment section of his vid with this little tidbit. Well, if you had children, wouldn't you want them to love you? We are God's children, since He's the Creator. It's for our own good that we should love Him, not see Him as a slave master. If we don't, then we're basically walking with blindfolds. Okay, so if I had children, then yes, I would prefer it if they loved me. But you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't torture them, not even for a second, if they didn't. Now, I personally find that this makes me a better and more moral person than your supposed God. And I'm sorry, but a God that is morally inferior to me is not something I would worship, even if I thought it existed. Peace.